K Kavitha is in the national capital being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, and we are hearing that the ED asked for her mobile phone, which was kept at her residence, and aides of K Kavitha had later brought that phone and submitted it to the Enforcement Directorate. K Kavitha is now at the ED office for over 5 hours. She's been questioned over Liquorgate. So that's the breaking news update coming in. She's being questioned. We are hearing that her mobile phone was asked for and was brought in. She didn't carry the mobile phone. Most politicians these days, we are told, when they go for questioning, don't carry their phones with them. Wonder why that happens. But K Kavitha didn't carry her phone, and we are told that her security later brought her phone to the ED office. That's the breaking news update. We'll go across to our correspondents tracking the story closely and get in their response and the details of the questioning that is on as we speak. She's been there for over 6 hours now, continues to be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. And K Kavitha has been questioned in the Liquorgate scam. The Enforcement Directorate has claimed that she, along with her aides, in what is now called the South Group, according to the Enforcement Directorate, had tried to influence the excise policy case. Let me go across to Shravan, joining us on the phone line with more details. Shravan, what do we know about the questioning so far?
Well, in fact, Niranjan, as we speak, the questioning is still underway, but a small development taking place. The Enforcement Director essentially asked K Kavitha to submit her mobile phone, which were given to understand that the leader had essentially indicated that she did not have it with her. The Enforcement Director then had directed her security officers to perhaps collect the mobile phone which was kept at her residence, which we are now given to understand has already been given to the Enforcement Directorate. We do not know at this point in time, Niranjan, whether at all the mobile phones have been seized or this is just part of the process that is still undergoing right now, where they're essentially going through the digital evidence. But all that we can say that this is the recent development that's taken place in the last 1 hour, where the security officers of K Kavitha had rushed back to her residence to collect the mobile phone, which has now been submitted to the Enforcement Director. Perhaps a little later in the day, Niranjan, there would be more clarity as to what's going to be the future course of action, whether at all K Kavitha is going to be summoned once again. That we do not know, whether they'll be in a position to complete the questioning today. That is something that we'll have to wait and watch, because all that we can confirm right now, Niranjan, is that the questioning is still underway. In fact, a joint interrogation with Arun Ramachandra Pillai is going to take place, is what we can confirm. That is going to happen today. We do not know whether the joint interrogation has already taken place so far. We're waiting for a confirmation to come in from the Enforcement Directorate.
Yeah. And she's been questioned. The focus is on the South Group. She's been denying the charges. You also spoke to her. In fact, what we will do is we'll also play out an excerpt of that interview of yours with her, Shravan. She claims that just by association, she cannot be held guilty. What's been her defense so far, Shravan?
Well, in fact, K Kavitha, just like any other political leader, has taken that position that as far as Arun Ramachandra Pillai is concerned, or Abhishek Boinpalli are concerned, she's not really denied not knowing them. In fact, Buchi Babu happens to be her former auditor. And all that she has essentially indicated right now, Niranjan, is that like any other political leader, there are thousands of people that she meets over a period of time. But she can't possibly be held responsible for any of the crime that has been committed by those whom she has met in the past. Now, that's the position that she has taken. Also, she has raised the other contentious issue that most of the opposition leaders seem to be taking. That is with regards to statements that are essentially being recorded by the Enforcement Directorate under Section 50 of the PMLA Act, because they say that this particular section is draconian in nature, because the moment anyone's statement is recorded under Section 50 of the PMLA Act, then remember that becomes admissible before the court, and based on which
we are looking at K Kavitha also being called in for questioning, because Arun Ramachandra Pillai essentially has told the Enforcement Directorate that he was basically representing the interests of K Kavitha. There are certain Benami investments that have essentially taken place, which again Arun Ramachandra Pillai says is that of K Kavitha. Apart from that, Samir Mahindru, the other accused in this particular case, has also taken the name of K Kavitha, saying that there were meetings that took place at K Kavitha's residence in Hyderabad, where the other accused, Abhishek Boinpalli and others, were actually present. But all these allegations have been completely refuted by K Kavitha. She still maintains that she can't be held responsible for any of the alleged crimes or alleged acts of these very people who have now come under the scanner of the Enforcement Directorate. Now, there is more to than what meets the eye at this point in time, Niranjan, because the Enforcement Directorate maintains that digital evidence in this entire matter was also destroyed by K Kavitha, indicating that roughly about 10 mobile phones which were actually used by K Kavitha has actually been destroyed. Now, this allegation to K Kavitha says that there is no question of destruction of any evidence, because all these mobile phones that they are referring to, the Enforcement Directorate is referring to, these mobile phones are still with her. In fact, she says that she's an iPhone user, an iPhone buff, and that's the reason why with every launch of an iPhone, she's been changing it. So this has got nothing to do with the fact that there is any evidence that has been deliberately destroyed by her, and she's more than willing to submit that evidence if asked for by the Enforcement Directorate. But what she has basically taken umbrage upon, that is about leaking details of the IMEI number of these mobile phones in various of the remand copies, because she says that in the past she was never called in for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. So even before her version could have been recorded by the Enforcement Directorate, why is it that the agency has essentially leaked that information, which has finally reached multiple media houses which have actually flashed that kind of information? But having said that, there is a counter that has been given by the Enforcement Directorate. They are saying that this is part of the investigation that is being carried out, and it is incumbent on the investigative agency to provide that information before the court, especially when they're seeking remand of any particular accused. In this particular case, it happens to be that of the case of Arun Ramachandra Pillai. So Arun Ramachandra Pillai's statement becomes extremely crucial, Niranjan. But there is a twist to this entire story. Arun Ramachandra Pillai has now moved the court, saying that the statement that was recorded by the Enforcement Directorate, it was under duress, and he would like to retract from that very statement. If at all the court basically intervenes, then perhaps it's going to put a spanner on the works done by the Enforcement Directorate, because they are heavily relying on the statement that has been given by Arun Ramachandra Pillai.